In their respective eras, the U-Wing and the Low-Altitude Assault Transport infantry variant each fulfilled their roles as troop transports and gunships, the U-Wing for the Rebel Alliance in the Galactic Civil War, and the LAAT/I for the Republic in the Clone Wars. But how do these two transports and gunships compare to each other in regard to their weaponry and mission capabilities? In this video expose, I will compare the U-Wing with the LAAT/I in terms of their weaponry, mission capabilities, and design. Let's start with the U-Wing. Although the U-Wing was given the informal title of a starfighter, it fulfilled a role that the starfighters within the Rebels' fleet couldn't carry out. Designed as a troop transport and gunship, the U-Wing's primary role was to penetrate enemy zones to drop off Rebel troops, and then extract them once the mission was complete. Generally, having delivered its troops to the battlefield, U-Wings often then stayed out of sight and away from the battlefield, in order to preserve fuel, and to wait to carry out their extraction mission. However, during particularly dangerous Rebel missions, U-Wings would provide air support for the troops on the ground, as was seen in the Battle of Scarif. Although these were the U-Wing's primary roles, its versatility meant that the Rebel Alliance called upon the vehicle to act not only as a gunship and troop transport, but also as a shuttle, courier ship, and medevac lifter, making the U-Wing an ideal vehicle for the Rebels. U-Wings had a height of 3.35 meters, and were roughly 25 meters in length when the craft's S-foils were folded forward. Although it had the ability to be operated by a single pilot, its two-seater cockpit and tandem controls allowed for a flight crew of 2, to better operate its landing and defensive maneuvering. U-Wings allowed for 8 passengers, meaning each vehicle could deploy up to 8 soldiers onto the battlefield. Their top atmospheric speed of 590 miles per hour made them a relatively fast aircraft, falling just short of an X-Wing's top speed of 652 miles per hour. The number of U-Wings within the Rebel fleet was few, and therefore, each one was particularly valuable. In fact, U-Wings were only made available to the Alliance through the efforts and manipulations of Senator Bail Organa. Manufactured by the Incom Corporation, the U-Wing was one of the last designs that it created prior to the corporation being nationalized and acquired by the Empire, ending the construction of the vehicle before it experienced a full production run. They were only made available to the Rebels when Bail manipulated Senate records that resulted in a rare shipment of U-Wings being categorized as lost during shipping, allowing them to be acquired by the Alliance. U-Wings were equipped with 2 laser cannons mounted on the front of the vehicle. These laser cannons were positionally fixed, thereby requiring that they target through the ship's orientation. This significantly limited the U-Wing's application in supporting troops on the ground. However, in order to make up for these limitations in weaponry capabilities, the Rebel Alliance further outfitted the vehicle with the ability to transform both of its loading doors into improvised gun ports, so as to provide covering fire for troop landings and extractions. These improvised gun ports allowed any infantry-based weapon to be mounted to the vehicle, and thus become part of the U-Wing's weapon capabilities. Although not specifically designed for dogfights with other starfighters, the U-Wing did allow for a flight configuration that made it ready for aerial combat. The vehicle's S-foils could swing outward, which not only increased the ship's wingspan and reduced excess heat from the engine core, but it also increased the coverage of the vehicle's deflector shields. Finally, although U-Wings were equipped with a hyperdrive system, they were not used for extended long-range missions, as doing so would result in the inefficient use of fuel. In contrast, the LAAT/I provided significantly more firepower than the U-Wing. Manufactured by Rothana Heavy Engineering and first deployed at the Battle of Geonosis, the LAAT/I became one of the Republic's most recognizable military vehicles during the Clone Wars. Although it acted as an infantry transport vehicle, they were also designed as a gunship, wherein they could provide air-to-ground and air-to-air support through its wide range of weapons. This increased weaponry allowed the LAAT/I to serve not just as a troop transport and gunship, but also as an escort vehicle for Republic ground and aerial forces. Each LAAT/I came heavily armed with an assortment of anti-vehicle and anti-personnel capabilities. They had 2 chin-mounted laser cannon turrets, which unlike the U-Wing, were not positionally fixed, thereby allowing them to better support troops on the ground. There was also the option to provide additional firepower through 2 bubble turrets that would swing outward from the vehicle's cabin, which could be operated by 2 clone troopers. Further, each wing included 2 additional laser turrets, while 3 smaller laser cannons were mounted to the vehicle to provide anti-infantry fire. The LAAT/I was also capable of providing anti-vehicle support through the missiles located on the underside of each wing. LAAT/Is could transport a significantly larger amount of soldiers to the battlefield in comparison to the U-Wing, as they were capable of carrying up to 30 clone troopers versus the U-Wing's 8. However, they were much slower than their U-Wing counterpart, being able to reach a top speed of only 385 miles per hour. So there we have it, the weaponry and mission capabilities of the U-Wing and the LAAT/I. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for increased firepower.